Hi everyone. Today I'll tell you about loss, or at least what I've learned how to deal with loss. There's not much difference in dealing with loss of a thing, or of a faculty, or of a person. Ultimately, it all boils down to whatever you remember the status quo from a moment ago, and whatever the juxtaposition of that against what you're experiencing now. There are two versions of experience. One is what you were a moment ago, one is now. One is with, one is without. And the words with and without are actually super useful here. Like within and without, right?
Message is from the Financial Intelligence Unit of Ireland. There are unusual transactions found in your accounts, and all of your bank accounts will be closed under 30 minutes. Please press 1 to connect to our concerned department. Thank you.
I am tempted to press 1 to connect. Maybe some other time. There is difference in how we interface with objects or concepts in our reality. So with this pencil I can do very little, right? I can draw with it, I can probably use it as a torture device, but other than that, it's pretty useless. If we think how we interface with, for example, a sense of smell or sight or a person, that relationship is much more complex. It gives you, it's much more deeply embedded within your sense of self, within your reality. If you, for example, lose your home, it's a simple object, but the relationship between this and what you consider to be self is much deeper. So the emotional effect of this will be deeper. So let's think about those two versions of reality, because they are at the core of the problem. First is you have the item, second you don't. And the light show in your head, the memory, also insists that this is the way it's supposed to be, right? Object permanence is an important evolutionary mechanism that helps us survive. Like, okay, this creature that I'm trying to hunt just hid behind the rock, but it doesn't mean that it stopped existing. It means it is behind the rock, so I can still catch it and eat it, right? So it's a super important mechanism that in this day and age, well, it's even more important than ever, of course. But how it jeopardizes our emotional state of being when it insists that the world is supposed to deliver what we expect. Can you see what happens here? We believe in permanence so deeply that we forget that transience is beneficial. You know, if this pencil didn't make room for new pencils at some stage, I would be stuck with this one forever. I wouldn't be able to draw with colored crayons. I don't know. If humans that were alive 500 years ago were still around, they would probably find it very difficult to use the internet, to exist in modern society. It's great that they made room for the new humans. Same thing with me. Once I finished my circle, I'll make room for the new ones. And that's the beautiful thing, because this helps my family appreciate who I am right now. It helps them to understand they don't get to keep it, that this one will also decay, like the pencil will also everything around us in 5 billion years, Earth will be engulfed by an expanding red giant. 5 billion? Yeah, thereabouts. That's when the sun starts running out of helium. Hydrogen. So you don't get to keep this is a great reminder losing things is a great reminder of not being able to keep anything around us. It reminds us to treasure whatever we have right now as long as we can. And if it goes, fine. There's no point to be crying about pencil-shaped hole in one's memory because it's just a hole. It's not there. How can you be upset about it, right? You can be upset about the light show, but the light show is actually better without the pencil, because I can relate to memories it created and treasure these within their own context. Know what I mean? It's like a story can be better than the original event because you get to write it. One person once asked me, what's the story if my house was broken into and my stuff stolen? That's a bit more complex than just losing your stuff, because it's your sanctum sanctorum being violated by somebody you don't know, and you start building stories of these really evil people, malevolent takers of stuff. And you can, the brain doesn't stop there. It starts building the story of how evil these people are, and they probably drown kittens in their spare time. I don't know what these evil people do. It's all about the story you tell yourself in that case. Analyze the story, observe it, observe how it forms and what purpose it serves. Purpose of the story. The stages of grief? There's, God, I never remember all of them. But there's disbelief, anger, rebellion, and acceptance, and something in between. That there were more of them. But the story you're telling yourself will serve one of these, will serve to fuel one of these emotions. So observe the story and ask yourself which emotion it fuels and why do you need this emotion. It helps. It helps to kind of have this inner dialogue. Okay, why are you doing this? Why do I need it? Will it serve me in the long run? So the story that you tell yourself after your house was broken into will definitely fuel anger. Blame is one of those. You have to place guilt somewhere to excuse the doings of the universe. So definitely this will weave into the story. I could have had better looks. What if I stayed an hour longer instead of going to that show? All would have been well. If I had only ever. This is wishing for a better past. All the regret, wishing for a better past, it's just an illusion that it's experience. Experience is one thing, regret is a completely different thing. So once you've stopped observing your story, once you have observed your story and spoke to it long enough, you can turn it around if you like. You can change it into something that doesn't have blame. You can make a story that the people that stole your stuff were really desperate and they needed to feed their families. You can tell the story that you have given the stuff away voluntarily on some higher consciousness level because they needed it more, and you are resourceful enough to get new stuff. You can tell yourself a story that the stuff that disappeared, because why do you need to have humans do it? Just disappeared. It's there, it's gone. Just went away to make room for new stuff. Now you can get a better Xbox. I had stuff. Oh, such an overused word. I have stuff disappearing all the time, and it's not that I misplace it. I know exactly where I placed it, and it's gone. The story I used to spin myself is like, okay, it wanted to go for some sort of excursion, do its own stuff, stop doing stuff, and let's see how I live without it. No hard feelings, right? And it usually turns up after a couple of months, usually in the same spot where I left it. Some people say that if you jump between realities, that's what happens. All right, I should summarize. You don't lose anything because it was never there. Whatever you have, treasure it. It was never there because yesterday never happened. It only exists in your head. You cannot travel to the place called yesterday. Treasure whatever you have. Well, you can't really have things. Treasure whatever is in your vicinity and enjoys your attention because it's transient. You're not keeping this. And this gives you a great opportunity to treasure it. And if it's gone, let it go. Because there's no point for it to be, sitting in your head without paying rent. Unless you need it for something. Unless you need this memory to cause some sort of emotion in your head. This was supposed to be a summary. But I don't think it is. Because there's one more thing that we need to cover. I once had a friend who died. And for quite a while, I couldn't let go of the memory because I was thinking, I couldn't let go of the grief. Because I was thinking, if I let go of this grief, it dishonors the person. This person deserves better than being forgotten. And I have to carry that memory. That kind of way. And when I let go, this memory transformed. And it was free. And became something much better than it was when I was forcing it. So letting go is very cathartic. Sometimes it's good to move house. When you realize how much stuff around you don't need, how much stuff you have to get rid of in order to pack yourself into a backpack. Very cathartic. Some people do it with relationships. And you have 50 Facebook friends, and sometimes you call the herd. Sometimes you the decimate the ones that you don't. I don't know. Well, I don't know what you do with Facebook friends. I'm not Facebooky. Right. So I should summarize, but I won't. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you suffered any sort of loss, be it a pencil or a guinea pig or something else, or a memory, I hope it helped. Thanks for watching.